Welcome back to Morning Express. We're glad you're watching. Wednesday, the 15th of January. As we promised, we have that conversation now with my guest, Joyce Kairu. Wanjiku Kairu is here with me. I beg your pardon. And we're talking all about caring for the elderly in society. An important group, some of the statistics out indicate that about 1.5 million Kenyans are above age of 60, therefore falling under that category. And some of the issues, of course, around that is neglect, loneliness, and not quite getting to enjoy the sunset years or days, if you like. So we're joined by her this morning. She is the founder of Purity Care for the Elderly. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Happy New Year.
And everybody else.
And everybody else. Talk to us about this. You're not, someone would imagine it would be somebody very old talking about the plight of the elderly. Some would imagine, but that's not the case.
Yeah, it's not the case. It's actually one of those things that, when people meet me, they think, she's small, she's petite, not old, but it is actually a calling that comes, it's a calling that came about when to start Purity Elderly Care Foundation, and it has more to do with helping the elderly, supporting the elderly, and sensitizing the community about the plight of the elderly. So you don't have to be old to do good and to change the community and to touch lives.
Take us through the journey, how you got to that, because that is not what you've always done. It's at some point in your life that you took this path and decided to focus all your energy and attention on this group of people. What happened?
Sophia, I started with my late mother, Purity. I thought during her illness, I should have been there for her. And unfortunately, I think I got too busy for my mother. I got too busy with education. I'm a project manager by profession. And I was working in South Africa, traveling, gallivanting all over, enjoying life. And it's when she passed on that it dawned on me that there was more to life than having fun and earning a lot of money. The six figures.
Yes. Okay.
And when she passed on, I went back to South Africa. That was in 2010, and there was this soccer World Cup. And I forgot she had died. It became hectic. It was after that it started haunting me that there was more to life than the soccer, the fun, then the lots of money, then living large. And I looked at so many people like you and others, Kenyans in the diaspora, and what we did most and what we do a lot of times is send money, M-Pesa, MoneyGram or Western Union to our ailing parents or to our ailing grandparents, forgetting that they don't need the money, they need us more than the M-Pesa. Thank you to M-Pesa and other money or transfer programs.
Right.
But it's not the money they need. They need our touch. They need to tell us they love us. They need us to tell them we love them. They need our touch. And that is what actually got into me.
Okay.
And
how old was she when she passed
my
on?
mama was 64 when she passed on. She died. She succumbed to cancer of the colon, unfortunately. And I knew she was sick like 2 years before, and that with the little education, the education that I have, I knew and I know that I could have been employed or re-employed. So taking a sabbatical to take care of my mother could not have been an issue. I should have done that. Okay. I did not do it. So at 64 she passed on, and I see so many other people doing that. On the other hand, there's something else that I did not do. I could have taken her to South Africa, to America, to have her diagnosed early enough, to check her, which is what I really would like us to emphasize on today. We need to check our bodies early enough to be diagnosed, to know whether they have a disease, or when somebody complains of heartburn, those little issues, we should check them earlier. And I didn't do that with my mother. I just watched her take medicine, watched her go to PGH and other doctors, and there's more that I could have done.
So this weighed on you heavily, caught up with you at some point with your life, and you decided to come back home, to leave your job. How did that happen, play out?
Okay. After being disturbed, writing about my thoughts and thinking, things started happening. But this one morning, May of 2011, I was jogging. I try to do some exercise.
Jogging, yes.
Jogging.
Always good.
Very important. I should go back to it. And this girl was hit by a car in Johannesburg, Rivonia. And I was the first witness. Now to call the police, to call everybody, then it was all finished. And I thought, let me jog back home. But when I got home, I got a blackout. On waking up, that's when I had a voice ask me, have you done what I've called you to do? Had it been you who has been hit by the car, have you done what I've called you to do? And I went to my boss and I told him, sorry, I'm out of here.
So that sense of, you say you had a voice asking, have you done what I have called you to do, what you're supposed to do? Did you then know what it is that you're supposed to do?
Yes, I had known.
Okay.
I knew I had been called to take care of the elderly. How, I didn't know. I'm now being guided daily on how. Okay. It's not that I had a concept paper, I had started writing. My concept paper was just crystal clear. What I didn't know though is that it was not the concept. There is more that is to it than with the eye. So indeed what I'm doing is not what I had written. It is every day I'm guided into something new.
You're going with the flow.
Yeah, we're going with the flow.
So you came back home.
Right.
Where did you pick from when you came back? What did you find out about the statistics, what's happening, the plight of the elderly in the country, and what is the systems that have been put in place to help?
First, what I got is that it was a shock. My father was shocked. He was like, are you mad? My family, are you crazy? You've left a job. Have you been fired? Have you been kicked out of South Africa? Have you been deported? That was the first shock. However, then I decided to just ignore everything and carry on. Then I started with Kairu. And Kairu didn't work for me. I was told by the same voice that told me in May of 2011, I wanted to go back to Nyeri. Then, and my shenanigans like the mad and gumboots, and it's not my thing. Then when I went deep into the elderly people's lives, I found a lot of neglect, abandonment, poverty, loneliness due to illnesses, loneliness due because the children are far, they're not in Kenya, they're in Nairobi working, or they're just surviving. Alcohol, or abuse of substance. That is, so there are so many problems affecting the elderly.
Right.
And it's others are sick, they need diapers, other shelters have falling, and you find that there's this son of an old woman or an old couple that has a stone house and their mother still lives where they were born. That again is, creates a lot of, they feel I brought them up, I built them, and now
not for me, they will not be around.
Yeah, and now they're living this high life, amazing life, and next to me.
Wow.
So there is this neglect, and there is that forgetting that you were born by those old people.
Okay, it's good you bring this out because it happens a lot, and for many people it is during the holidays that the kids go to shows for a week or so, or they'll, as you said, send some money or some food. But with the plight for you, other than neglect, other than that loneliness, which is unfortunate because they've lived this long life, blessed with that long life, you'd assume that then they should just enjoy the final years, because having a large number of the elderly in the rural areas, another one of the issues I know that you find is that most of them are left to take care of children as well. Say if somebody passes on, or somebody is in Nairobi, does not want to take care of their child, they're like, sure, take care of so and so for a while. So also the fact that some still have responsibilities at that particular age.
I know we're finding so many OVCs, orphans and vulnerable children, living their grandparents or grandparents, and it's actually a very big issue, and we are trying to address that, and should be addressed. I know the government is trying, it has a kitty for the OVCs, and a lot of elderly people may have, like, you find an old person has 6 kids, not has children, but had grandchildren, and that really is a big problem. And what we've been trying to do is support the old person with food, and look for adopters to adopt the kids, adopt them in their own homes, to leave their grandmother, but educate them. And we have been finding that you find an old person is living that little shelter with those little children, and food is just
very little.
And because the children are not able to feed the children, the grandmother ends up suffering. I went on Christmas Day to visit an old man, and his wife died, and he has overseas. He had no meal for the day.
So what are you doing, Joyce? What are you doing now? Who are you working with? How is it you're helping these people?
Now, what we're doing is that first is that I'm known as a
Wanjiku wadu akuru.
Wanjiku wadu akuru.
That means a lady for the old people.
Wanjiku for the old people, but others have they're actually asking me to stop saying that. But it is true. I beg. I'm Wanjiku the beggar. I beg for the elderly. First, I ran out of my cash when I came back to Kenya, and when I ran out, I started begging from the society in Muinyeri. I walk around shops, I walk around my friends, asking them, guys, give me money, give me food, buy me diapers, please give me blankets, all sorts of things. I walk around begging. And what we do is that we do a thorough needs assessment.
Who are we, you and who?
Okay, some volunteers.
Okay.
Maybe 4 of us, but I work with the administration.
Right.
The local administration, who engage the local chiefs and the assistant chiefs and the community health workers. So we have just a few volunteers, like 5 of us. We identify the needs, and if it's food, we give food, we provide food on a needs basis. We take them to hospital, we take elderly people to hospital. So what does that entail? Money. We need to actually hire a taxi or matatu to take and I take them to Nyeri Provincial General Hospital, and if they refuse to take my old people, if I have no money, I cry, and then they take them. So
okay.
So that's what I do.
All means to get
help. We build for them. We've built a number of shelters for elderly people, 11 of them. And some of the shelters that we build cater not only for the old person, but for those affected by who have OVCs. OVCs affected by either HIV, AIDS, or accidents.
Yeah.
Like we have so many accidents, like the motorbike.
Yes,
we have
quite a number. Yeah.
Quite a number of motorbike accidents, and you find young men and women are dying and leaving those children with the elderly. Yeah. So that has been but we help the elderly from their own homes. We do not have a home for the elderly.
You do not have a home?
No.
So mostly your work is based then in Nyeri?
It is in Nyeri at the moment, because you can only help I prefer Nyeri because when I'm hungry, if I feel hungry, I know I'm going to get a meal from around there.
But somebody would ask, Wanjiku, you were doing this working, having good pay, receiving this good pay, and somebody would argue, why not continue working and you have this regular source of income, and then you have also a stable way in which you can help, or also still come up with an organization that is set up with structures that can help, so that you don't have to walk around, and as you're doing that still, then you have a bigger structure bringing in more help for these people. If somebody argued, why not work and perhaps still have more from you, and as you get other people and enlist their support and help as well?
Sustainability is what you're talking about. Now, when I was called to do what I'm doing, because it's not me, and I obeyed, I knew it was something that I had to stop working, and I believe I was given the project management skills that I have and the expertise to actually do what I'm doing.
Okay.
So what I'm doing, I will beg for, I know I'll keep begging, and at the same time as I beg, I'm not just begging, I'm sensitizing.
Okay.
So as I walk around asking people for help, they actually go back home and think, if Wanjiku goes back there. So I don't think I can work anymore. Whatever I'm doing it's not normal. It is serious. It's actually not normal, but within me, I know it's what I've been called to do. If it wasn't, I'm not from. I'll be very blunt and very open and say I am not from a poor family, so I'm not begging for me. So I don't take care of my father; he takes care of himself. I don't take care of my siblings; they are okay. They are all happy and comfortable. So it's not normal, and I thank God for this abnormality that is actually making a difference in people's lives.
Okay, what do you say, having of course interacted with very many elderly people and gotten to understand the problems, their plight, in terms of the general outlook for the country? What needs to be done, the government, any other stakeholder, individuals who are watching this at home, families, to just ensure these people are not abandoned or neglected?
First is that I must say is that Sophia, you have a don't know, if you have parents or whoever has parents, if you have mother and father, first you're born by those parents, not the government. So the government is not the responsibility of that old person. You first are the person responsible for that person before bringing the government. However, the government has actually introduced the cash transfer program,
right,
where they give the elderly to some elderly people 2,000 shillings a month. Initially, it was a pilot, has been rolled out, but still needs to do a bit of. We need to improve the way it's being done.
Right.
Then the government needs to improve the structure and to add on all the elderly people in all the entire of the country, not only Nyeri, where the number is like 750. Received, not Nyeri County, Nyeri Central. So we need to actually work on that. When I look at the what do you call this? The food, the relief food, it has stopped coming to the elderly. So we would like to ask people to contribute towards the elderly. And apart from the government, seriously, I keep saying the elderly do not belong to the government. So you, as a neighbor of that old person, ensure that the old person next to you, your neighbor, is fed. Help them. If the roof is leaking and yours is not leaking, please provide an iron sheet, just one or two. Let's take care of each other, because I'm gonna get old one day, and I'm not going to expect the government to do everything for me. So if my father educated me, I do not expect the government to educate everybody else.
Yeah.
No. So
good attitude. Yeah.
So let's not blame everything on the government. However, but the government, we are complimenting the government's effort. And the effort
Everyone
of the family.
has a role to play.
We all have roles to play.
Okay. Finally, Wanjiku, interesting. December, you had a party, and one of the things that you have mentioned for the elderly, they will get bored because everybody's busy making a living in school, all over the fast lane. But for them, there's not much, so they'll sit all day. But you got them out to party.
We party.
Tell us about that. How did it come up? What happened?
It was the first thing that I did in 2011 when I held an elderly people's party. We partied, and when I asked them to dance, and they did dance, I was like, I'm going to do this every year. So the third one was the best. We had the governor, our governor's wife, as a guest of honor, chief guest, and we had other guests with us. They had twists, and we did country music, and we all just went down, and they were just loving it. And we had 500 elderly people from all over Nyeri County. They feasted, they had breakfast, they had lunch, and they danced. With beautiful deco, we mobilized them, and Wanjiku went begging for every little thing that was brought to that venue. They ate, but the best thing is that they walked out of their homes. They were saying to me, "Hey, Dahona." So like, really, it was beautiful, and we want them to come out of their homes. When you ask them to leave a home, they have time to take a bath, to change, to see other people, and when they see another old person neglected, they're like, hey, I'm better off. You see, they want to see each other, and we want them to see you're not the only one with the problem. Okay. And now what we're doing at the same time, Sophia, is that I am planning a medical camp for them, so that again they come out, but this time to be taken care of, to be touched, to be felt, to be that sort of thing. So we are planning a medical camp for March, where we're going to mobilize thousands for 3 days for them to be treated and given proper medical care.
So that is what's coming up.
It's coming up. At the same time, on the day of those 3 days, we shall still dance.
Thank you very much for joining us, Wanjiku, doing a great job sensitizing people, reminding all of us, even as we watch this at home or as we get ready for work or school or whatever, that at the end of the day, we have those people as part of our society, and they must not be neglected. The first role and cause of action must begin with us.
Right.
I like that you emphasize that. Any parting shot?
Yes. I want to thank everybody, all my supporters, all my donors, everybody, really. But at the same time, take care of the elderly people. They're not mine.
Yes.
They're yours.
They're yours.
But not the fundamentals, but
You had just to sneak that in there. Asante sana. We wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Joyce Wanjiku, Kairu founder, Purity Elderly Care Foundation, joining us this morning. Amazing conversation, and the take home with that conversation is that you have your shosho somewhere. Important to take care of the elderly wherever they are. Not forget them and remember them once a year. Just send money here and there, but ensure they're living a good life. They're comfortable. They're well taken care of. They are indeed part of our society.